None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me.
All right. What is it? Sunday night? Must be the Sunday Night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? Who we got in the chat already? We got Rosie and Spambot and Trudeau Survivor in the chat. Good to see you guys. All right, shall we just get to the menu? I think we got a fair amount tonight. We got quite a bit. This maybe will be a long one. I normally say it's going to be short, but might be a long one tonight. All right, so here's the menu. What are we going to talk about? First off, we've got the Iran war stuff, which is ongoing, and it's going to be for a little while. I don't see this ending, certainly not in like the next week or two, but who knows? I could be wrong. We're going to go to the UK. We're going to look at, hold on one second. We're going to take another look at Rupert Lowe, who is looking to displace Nigel Farage as the great kind of right-wing hope in the UK. And I certainly hope he does, because I don't think Nigel Farage is up to it. We are going to take a look at, talk about a sick society. Brace yourselves, Luigi the Musical. The New York premiere has sold out. Late-night audiences have cheered at the mention of his name. It's just the sign of a sick society when you are celebrating, political assassinators, when you're celebrating political assassinations. Insane. We've seen, it's not the only time we've seen this, right? I don't think the people that are cheering this on really understand what they're in for, if they get it. Maybe they should read a book about 20th century history. I don't know. Let's see. We're going to talk about Canada joining the EU again. This has come back up. This happened last year, just out of nowhere. All of a sudden, polls were talking about how, Canadians super want to be part of the EU, regardless of the fact, I guess, that we're not in Europe. In any case, this is starting up again. It's just totally and utterly insane. We've got some by-elections coming up. There's 3 of them. If Carney gets all of them, he'll have a majority. And then, I guess Alberta better hope they get enough signatures at that point. For sure. So here's another thing, which is a bit concerning. So basically the hero, Jason Jacques, the parliamentary budget officer, we saw a lot of them last year, just giving Canadians the unvarnished truth about the state of the Canadian economy. And so, he's not being re-upped by the Carney. So they'd rather just not have this guy. So we'll get into that. Wow. Liberals don't change. They just don't change. The Liberal government doesn't change. Here we've got Pierre Poilievre. We're going to take a look at this. Here's looking at old Soviet cars. He's not a fan. What do we got? Gender ideology. What's going on here? We're going to talk about it as a social contagion. We've got some graphs here. Prove the point. We are going to take a look at, this is entertaining. Did you guys send this? Did one of you guys send this in to me? Here's a guy saying exactly who this elbows up beer is for. And, well, it's not flattering. It's not, just not. Then we got meme reviews, of course, which a lot of these you guys sent in. We're going to have some fun with that. I even did a bit of research behind that, actually. We are going to talk about the residential school issue in Canada, about Kamloops, the 215 potential mass grave sites, which is not, it's just not that we know that now. We're going to talk about the $12 million that was given over to the Indian band to do a dig to find out the truth, of which, of course, that money just disappeared. Nothing was done, apparently. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Now everything is being redacted. So all the information about it is being redacted by the government. So nobody can know what's happening. I think I've got some ideas on what's happening. Then we have, yes, a bit more from Dallas Brody on this insane land title issue in British Columbia. This thing that is literally apocalyptically bad, utter total insanity, of course, from Mark Carney. Then we have our last one. There's a guy who plays Minnie Mouse at Disneyland, and he's just having a smoke, and then he gives you the finger. It's hilarious. This is the last one, which a lot of this stuff is stuff that, most of it, I think, is stuff you sent in. So we shall go over this. There's lots of crazy stuff, funny stuff. It's fun. We'll have a good time. All right, everybody. Now, what are we doing? All right. Oh, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, please go to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. All the world stuff, the UK stuff, the US stuff, the meme reviews, all of that has gone over to the new channel, Radio Baloney News. Please go there for all of that content. This channel is I'm probably going to shut this channel down eventually, or just only live streams here. The Canadian news is here as well for now. But I'm starting to move the Canadian news over as well to Radio Baloney News now. So please go over there. Eventually, I think everything will just be over there. Please help me out, please. All right. Now, as everybody knows, we're streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on Rumble, we're streaming on X, we're streaming on Locals. And when you subscribe to the channel or become a member, even better, of course, you're getting good karma for that. Or you lose your mind and you decide to send me money, absolutely get good karma. Easiest way, just like the stream. Just like the stream. Let's see. And when you like it early, you get more. So let's see. Rosie got the second like, so that's 5 good karmas. Very nicely done. Let's see. Spambot got the third, so that's 4 good karmas. Wow. Looks like True to Survivor got first. That's 6 good karmas for you. 6 good karmas. In these troubled times, who could turn their back on that? I wouldn't. I don't want to die. I wouldn't do it. All right. So let's take a look at the chat, and then we'll get into the story, shall we? Spambot says, unhappy DST Switch Day. All. He says, well, unhappy DST Switch Day to you as well. Rosie asks, hi, Richie, how are you? How is Dead Father? Oh, he's good. He's good. Yeah, he's doing fine. Everything's looking good. Did Rosie get number 1? I don't know who got number 1. Whoever got number 1 gets 6 good karmas. Boom. I don't know. Well, Trudeau Survivor says, instead of changing the clocks, we should simply change the tilt of the Earth. There we go. Step 1, create a tilt offset tax. Yeah, that's how you fix everything with taxes. Almost forgot. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor's got a video about drones. We'll get to that later if we have time. We got quite a lot. Scare report about Tamiflu from Spambot. All right, remind me of that later. Spambot says, happy International Women's Day, Link. Well, I've got some of those from you that are in the meme review, Spam, so it's probably one of those. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, Spam, some WhatsApp group I'm in. The group admin posted, happy International Women's Day. Thank you to all the women in the group. You are all amazing and make this community a better place. But do they? And are they all? Are they all amazing? Are they? Do they all make the community a better place? I mean, surely there's some of them that are at least slightly less than amazing, and some of them that are probably, probably bad for the community, probably detrimental for the community. I'm gonna guess because nobody's perfect, right? Judo Survivor says infantilization of women for just being women. That's it, exactly. Well, it's like it's like the way you treat kids, right? Like it is really. There's this weird kind of, what is it, Schrodinger's feminist. It's like strong, powerful woman until that doesn't work, and then it's please save me. Let's see. Spambot says, nope, my link above is not one of your DMs for me. Well, maybe we'll do it then. All right, whatever. Let's see. Copy link address. We'll do one. We'll do one. Let's see. I have to check it out first. So let's see. Paste. Oh. Happy International Women's Day. Well, that actually did happen, didn't it? That actually did happen. A plane flipped over. And it was a lady. Oh, did it happen on International Women's Day? I think probably it did. All right. Let's move on. Let's get on with the stream, shall we? Should we just get on with it? Anyway, that was a good one. Spambot. Let's see. It's new and fresh, Spambot says. This math is for I don't know what that means. I don't know what's going on. Trudeau Survivor says most of the women in the group are quite dumpy looking. None of them would make the RB Sports Clip show. Then they are less than amazing, I'm afraid. Less than amazing. All right, everybody's special. Except me. Let's see. So let's take a look at the Iran stuff here. So nuclear warning. Apparently, Iran told U.S. officials it has enough enriched uranium for 11 nuclear bombs, including 2 Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Well, let's see. Let's hear this. So that's not good news if it's true.
I want to start with something that U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff told Hannity last week during an interview. He said when the Iranians arrived at the negotiating table, they told the American delegation that they had 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, enough to make 11 nuclear bombs. The way you enrich uranium is a process that as you get closer to weapons grade, the breakout time becomes much quicker. And so they were just a couple of weeks away from having weapons grade material that they could ultimately use in a nuclear weapon. And as we've seen, they have the ballistic missile capability. And if they could attach a nuclear warhead, that's when it becomes dangerous to the region. And that's what the United States and Israel wanted to stop. They didn't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Also at the negotiating table, the Iranians said they wanted a peaceful nuclear program. And then the Americans offered them unlimited nuclear fuel forever. And they rejected this offer. And so the concern was that this enriched uranium could be used to create a nuclear bomb that could threaten U.S. forces or U.S. allies in the region. And at this point, the challenge for the Americans will be identifying where that enriched uranium is located and either destroying it or diluting it. Both of those processes could be very difficult because it is stored underground, but this is part of the game plan for the Americans and the Israelis as this war continues.
So, I mean, getting a nuke is basically, it's the ultimate deterrent, right? So you got a nuke, nobody's messing with you. Nobody's going to go in and get Kim Jong. Was it Un or Il? I always forget. Nobody's going in to get into North Korea to get Kim. Not happening. He's got the bomb, and I think people believe he'll use it. So yeah, I mean, look, Iran is surrounded by enemies, right? And of course, it's not like they're good guys, right? So they deserve the enemies they have. So the nuclear, the ultimate deterrent, it seems plausible to me that they'd be doing everything they could to try and get it. Omnivos, how you doing? Omnibus says, I believe either China or Russia has been making nukes for Iran for a while. I think if they had a nuke, we'd know about it. I think they'd just say, right? Like, anybody that touches us, we're dropping it on Tel Aviv. I think they'd say that in a second, so again, it is the ultimate deterrent, right? Like, once you've got that, the other side has got to be ready to see mushroom clouds. All right. Let's move on. What do we got down here? Times of Iran news. Tehran's largest oil depot up in flames. Reminder that China imports 15% of its oil from Iran. No longer. Oh boy, that is apocalyptic, isn't it? Yikes. Yikes. And I've believed all along, this is about isolating China. Having control of the tap. So in case China gets out of line with Taiwan, for instance. Let's see. Let's move on. Daniel Davis deep dive. Now, he is very opposed to this action. He says, this is more of what Trump and SecWar promised over the last 36 hours, that much, much more in terms of firepower was yet to come for Iran. This is the capital of Tehran, according to this report earlier tonight. He says, there is no question that the United States and Israel can bring profound devastation onto Iran, but the question has to be towards what end? Yes, a great deal has been burned to the ground, but how does that get us closer to achieving the objectives of either regime collapse or getting rid of the long-range missiles program? Unclear how this massive barrage gets to either objective, and this is a totally valid question. A totally valid question. Iran, all they have to do is survive. Like, are they much different than Hamas? Do they care how many of their own people die? Right? Or does that benefit them? After watching how successful that was for Hamas, I imagine they were watching that as well, right? And part of the propaganda war. So let's take a look at this, though, because this is like incredible. That's insane. But yeah, the regime as it is now, they just have to survive, right? They just have to survive. And is it possible for them to fall without boots on the ground? And I'm not hearing from anybody who's excited about boots on the ground. Not in an extremely mountainous territory, which is perfect for defense with a large military. Now, before we leave that, one thing I will say is with Trump, he does seem to be able to do things that other people thought unimaginable. So I'm not counting him out on this in terms of regime change at this point. So what's this? Heidi Bakram, American pro-Palestinian crying over Khomeini's martyrdom. She says he was selfless and egoless. These Western activists are inside a deep delusion indeed. I guess this is when you know everything about the world from TikTok and MS Now. This is what happens.
It's just what's happening now. Iranian people right now, they're going to their deaths. Professor Morandi is telling us this. They're not, Khomeini, I know people are going to yell.
They were being slaughtered by their own government, though, before this, right? So, does she know about that?
At me by saying this, but Khomeini said, and this is not a lie, this is true, these people are selfless. These people are selfless, egoless. This is something the West doesn't understand when I talk about modesty and humility. Like, I have a sticker I want to make.
So this is the kind of fetishism that you see, the kind of out-group fetishism that you see. It's pretty consistent across leftists, moderates all the way up to the far left extremists. This fetishization and really kind of infantilization of people who aren't them, people who aren't, you know, leftist, hyper progressive leftist women, especially of her age.
Bring back humility. Have some humility. Have some heart. Have some mercy. He was told, you're going to die. You're going to die if you stay here. He died with his whole family. Martyred him. Martyred him. It's just what's happening now.
But that's the story you've been told. Maybe it's true. Maybe it is. But it's a story. Barbara Kay says, I would be really interested to know more about the personal life of this delusional woman. I wonder if she knows that Mr. Humility had billions of dollars stashed away that he stole from the Iranian people. Also, his IRGC commanders. Was she aware, for example, of the 30,000 citizens of his country murdered on his orders for having the gall to be dissatisfied with his humble leadership? How could she not be? What did she think about that? Well, I'm sure she's probably not. She's probably not. I mean, again, I wouldn't be surprised if literally everything she knows about the world, she just knows from MS Now and TikTok at this point. Right, here's her video is a TikTok video, right? So, probably not. I mean, the dumbing down and the kind of capture of the leftist mind in the West is pretty much complete. Let's see. World Insights, Day 8. And now this does seem to be consistent with what I'm hearing across the board. Iran missile launches during the first 8 days of conflict. Ballistic missiles, day 1, 350. You can see it goes down to only 15, day 8. Drone swarms, 294 on day 1, 12 on day 8. Now, drones are a lot easier to produce. And they're a lot easier to produce. They're a lot cheaper to produce, and you can kind of produce them anywhere. You can produce them in apartment buildings, wherever you want. They're not obviously as technically difficult to make as a ballistic missile, obviously. So will those numbers go back up? I don't know, but it's not a good sign for their defense against air power, obviously, and their ability to anger their neighbors and try and force their neighbors into putting pressure on the United States and Israel to stop. Let's see. All right. So that's it. Let's go back to the chat for a second, and then we'll move on to the next thing. But before we do that, I don't know where this is going to go, how it's going to go. It seems unlikely to me that they can just get rid of the regime. I mean, there's what, 150,000 IRGC troops that seem to be pretty loyal. All of the leadership that was killed has been replaced, obviously, now at this point. And if they don't care what happens to the Iranian people, well, how do you get them out other than just going and digging them out? Old school, boots on the ground. So short of that, I don't know. I'm skeptical that there'll be regime change. All right. Let's see. Steve, how you doing? Like number 3 on YouTube, Steve got. So that's it. That's 4 good karmas for you, my friend. 4 good karmas. In these trying times, I mean, that's got to help out. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Spambot says Russia distrusts Islamic terrorists as much as the U.S. GOP does, but they are aligned with Iran, and Iran's been sending those Shahad drones to in large numbers to Russia as well. They are aligned. Their interests align. Let's see. Omnivore says, I heard B-52s just bombed the crap out of an underground base. If we're flying World War II relics over Iran, we have air superiority. But I don't think they're the old B-52s. These are new ones. Not the same thing. I think, hold on a second. I'm not an expert on, U.S. military airframes, but Let's see. Modern B-52 bomber. Hold on a second. Let's see. As of 2024, U.S. Air Force has 76 B-52s. And hold on, I just want to see if okay. Air Force B-52H Strato Fortress. Long-range heavy bomber that can perform a variety of missions. The bomber is capable of flying at high subsonic speeds, altitudes up to 50,000 feet, can carry nuclear, precision-guided conventional ordnance with worldwide precision navigation capacities. Hold on a second. Yeah, these are updated to, I think it said something in here. Hold on. Let me go back. Updated with modern technology. So yeah, so it's not the B-52s, that were flying over Germany in World War II. All right. Weirdo Survivor says, filming yourself crying for clicks. That's what that lady did. I mean, a lot of the mental illness that you see from them is performance, because it's it's virtue points for them, right? That's the coin of the realm for the leftists. All right. Rosie says, ooh, good idea. Cry for clicks. I have never used manipulative crying. You're a woman. Give me a break. Maybe I should. No, I can believe you, Rosie. I can believe it. But it is a common tactic, though, which I've witnessed to myself. Mental health. How you doing, mental health? He says, crying for clicks should be a bannable offense. Change my mind. I'm not going to change your mind. You're right. Banned. In fact,
right to jail, right away.
Immediately. It's the worst. Rosie says, I agree. Crying to manipulate is really mental illness. It's not fun. It's not a fun thing for somebody to do to somebody else. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, let's give the IRGC all the land in BC as a peace offering. I'm surprised that the Canadian government, Mark Carney, hasn't already done that. I got to be honest. Let's see. And then the Canadian people can pay lawyers from the Iranian regime and and the local Musqueam and the Cowichan to sue each other in Canadian courts. Let's see. Omnivore says they were not the stealth ones, the B-52s. Izzy, how you doing, Izzy? Izzy got like number 7. Well, that's 1.5. Good karmas for you, my friend. 1.5. Mark Carney likes muzzies anyway, True Survivor, so why not? Mental health says. Jojo, Izzy missed the liberal tears, how sad. Well, maybe we'll find some more later. Something wonderful has happened, folks. Something wonderful has happened in the chat. We have to. This is a truly wonderful, wonderful thing. Rosie has. Oh no, hold on. Let me put it up. Rosie has done a $20 Rumble rant. A $20 Rumble rant. You know what that means. So I think it should be clear by now that, there's a lot of great people in history. It's a long history. There were great people before there even was history. We don't even know about them, right? But one thing I can say with certainty is that whoever those people were, those brave, those brilliant, those awesome people, all human garbage compared to Rosie, because Rosie sent in a $20 rant. And my friends, that's all it takes these days. Best person ever. Appealing to my greed is always the right choice. Always. I guess that means I've got to do the link. So let's just go ahead and do it. Copy link address. All right, this better not be blue. We're working clean here. Well, this is acceptable. Let's see. Just like a Carolina girl. Hi, Patriots. Going out in a bit, but want to pass along a special PSA. The woke agenda is not entirely wrong, especially regarding the LGBFJP plus movement. I didn't realize they'd added the FJB to it. It is normal for a girl to have a bulge in her pants. In fact, it's encouraged right there. Look at that. Look at that. Approved, authorized. All right. Well, that was a good one. That was worth it. That was absolutely worth it. All right. Nice. Nice one, Rosie. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. We all support that spam. We all do. Spambot Fodder says, what is FJB? That is fuck Joe Biden. I can't believe you forgot that. All right. Let's get back to the start. We got lots to go over. Let's get rid of that first tab because we got so many tabs. We have so many tabs. What have we got here? So, do you want to see the state of the UK? So here's in Manchester. They've got apparently Sharia patrol in Manchester on horseback. Well, let's take a look. And apparently nothing happens.
Apparently they're allowed to chase people with horses. They just chase someone with an horse. They just chase people with horses. Are they part of Greater Manchester Police? How come they're not being nipped for chasing them people with horses then? They've just been chasing people with horses, officer. Yeah, they've been chasing people with horses.
And they've got these white armbands on here. Is that for Sharia patrol? Huh. Maybe we should find out. Hold on a second. Let's grok it. Let's see what's going on here. The Post video captures a March 5th, 2026 clash in Manchester where two men on horseback wearing armbands pursued anti-Iranian regime protesters near the Islamic Center while police observed without immediate arrest. It's because they have two-tiered policing there. So the Sharia police are allowed to do whatever the hell they want. While framed as Sharia police patrols, the incident involves pro-regime Iranian enforcers in a targeted confrontation, not routine vigilante enforcement, amid UK concerns over foreign-backed extremism in diaspora communities. Greater Manchester Police managed the event as a sanctioned demonstration, prioritizing de-escalation over intervention. sparking online debates on equine use and urban protests and selective policing in diverse areas. So I don't know. Pro regime Iranian forces, so pro the theocracy, Islamic theocracy. Sharia police, is it a distinction without a difference at this point? Let's ask it. What do the white arm bands signify? Let's take a look. The white armbands worn by the men on horseback and some others in that Manchester video from March 5th to 6th, 2026, are a symbol associated with Shia mourning and specifically tied to vigils or commemorations for the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. So normally when leftists see people with armbands, that tends to make them a little bit nervous, usually, right? Not in this case, though, for some reason. I don't know why. No idea why. Let's see. Hold on a second. How do I get to back? What was I doing? Where was I? Hold on. There we go. All right. So anyway, yeah, that's not normal. It's really not normal to allow people who support foreign terrorist regimes to just chase people around with horses in one of your major cities. But I guess the UK has completely lost confidence in itself at this point. Well, there is something being done about it. I mean, the UK thought it was going to be Nigel Farage. It looks like it's not going to be. It looks like it's going to be this guy here on Andrew Gold on this Heretic show. Here is Rupert Lowe, who just, I think about a month ago, founded the Restore political party in the UK. And he's been an MP. He's been involved in politics for a while. But he's a successful businessman. He's not just a politician. And yeah, so he is now leading the Restore Party, which sounds actually serious about dealing with the actual problems that the UK has with immigration and frankly, infiltration. And he's the only one.
I'm afraid I've paid him credit in the past and I'll pay it to him now. Tommy Robinson was right about this when he first talked about it in Luton.
You're not going to hear any other political leader say that Tommy Robinson was right about anything. Anything. So right there, that's already a win.
I'm afraid I've paid him credit in the past and I'll pay it to him now. Tommy Robinson was right about this when he first talked about it in Luton, around, I think it was 2002, 3, 4, somewhere around then. And he's been consistently right about it. And I think, again, he deserves credit for that. He's obviously got issues which people criticize him for, which I don't know about, and I never met Tommy. I've never spoken to Tommy. But I think he deserves credit for what he's got right. And, I'm not sure he's had that. That's an example of where the establishment's let down the British people. And you've had two-tier justice, two-tier policing. And it's really because people are frightened of basically admitting that post-war multiculturalism has failed. They're frightened of being called a racist, as Emily Maitlis called me, which I ignored.
For more clips like this, follow now.
I'm afraid.
So I'm glad to hear him give Tommy Robinson credit there. He says he doesn't really know much about him, so he kind of, maybe distancing himself a little bit there. But at least he's giving him credit for talking about the grooming gangs. He's been right about all of that stuff, everything he's been talking about. And I would say the bravest man in Britain, 100%. I mean, now he's at the flee because he's got an ISIS price on his head. That's how effective he's been. So I think that in the UK, the next election is probably going to be in about 3 years. That's plenty of time for him to take the reins. I think they jumped up to about 7% support in about a week. About a week. after declaring themselves a national party. Now here is Farage, and this is the guy who a lot of people thought was going to dig Britain out of this hole that was been dug for them by the establishment. And he's kind of proven himself to be establishment light at best, really. So he just wants to play the game like everybody else, it seems, which is a great disappointment to people. And this is why Rupert Lowe is seeing, a very quick rise in the polling. Let's hear him here. Now he's obvious, and Nigel Farage is obviously recognizes that Rupert Lowe is a threat to him.
Yes.
Hi Nigel. So Rupert Lowe set up his new party, Restore, and since setting it up, there's been lots of Twitter accounts associated with the party that have shown racism and anti-Semitism. Do you think Restore are a racist party?
Oh, here you go. It's the same every single time. Every single time. Right? There's not really nothing else that they have, so they just throw these smears out every single time. I think the moral thing for Nigel to do here is just say he disagrees with the whole premise here. I don't think he's going to do it.
Absolutely no idea. They're of no interest to me at all.
Okay.
Thank you. There are 11 of these parties now.
I mean, that was better than agreeing, but still.
Heritage Party. I mean,
under our electoral system, you need one party to vote for to get the Labour Party out. You can't have all these splinter groups. It's not going to work.
And setting up parties hard.
I've always thought AB Plus was the right solution because if you have that top up vote in the second vote. Then...
All right. So anyway, enough of that. But it's going to be interesting to watch what happens. I think that within a year's time, he could very well be the guy who is just waiting to get elected, right? At the top of the polls. All right, let's get rid of that tab. And another wonderful thing has happened in the chat. Another wonderful thing. I can't believe how good this is, how well it is going this evening. Spambot has gifted a subscription to the channel. What a beautiful thing. Gifted it to Izzy. Now Izzy can watch the premium only stream tomorrow. I mean, this is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful day for everybody. Guess what that means? It means that I'm sure there's going to be some amazing people born in the future. I mean, already we've made it. We all know. I mean, it's clear already that nobody from the past or the present can compare with anybody who's doing things like gifting subscriptions to Baloney. We already know that. But I'm sure there will be people in the future that are amazing people, do amazing things. And I don't think it'll come as a surprise to you guys for me to say that as great as those people may be, dog shit compared to Spambot. Dog shit. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. He gifted a subscription, folks. Come on. And in all seriousness, it is the best thing anybody can do for the channel. Thank you very much, Spambot. All right, let's move on to the next story. Brace yourself. We're already 43 minutes into this. Wow, it always goes by so fast. You're from the Daily Wire. Brace yourselves. Luigi the Musical. Yeah, and this isn't Nintendo. The New York premiere has sold out. Late-night audiences have cheered at the mention of his name. So this Luigi Mangione, who just murdered in cold blood a man in the street for the revolution, is being celebrated. And this is a most unhealthy thing for a society. I don't think the people who've bought their tickets right away and are going to see this, by the way, this isn't poor people going to see this. This won't be poor people. These are be people that can afford to go and see Luigi the Musical at the New York premiere has sold out. Those won't be cheap tickets. Right. So a bunch of Marie Antoinettes just going to see this with just no idea what would happen to them if the people that really celebrate political assassinations in the name of the revolution, just no idea what would happen to them if they get this wonderful utopia. They could find out. They could do some reading about the 20th century, or They could find out, they could do some reading about the 20th century, but they're not going to, because that wouldn't be fashionable. It's fashionable to believe insane fucking things these days. A man accused of murder is now the subject of a musical, and the crowds can't wait. Luigi the Musical will debut in New York City this June, just blocks from the scene of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson's murder. Just blocks from the scene of his murder. Think about this. I mean, this is a rot. This is a rot. And of course, this is very fashionable amongst the, I guess, the, artistic elites, the cultural. This is very fashionable amongst the cultural elites, and those people are morons. I mean, you have to just be historically illiterate to celebrate any of this. The show, first staged in San Francisco, transforms suspected assassin Luigi Mangione into a comic anti-hero. The New York premiere is sold out. Late-night audiences have cheered at the mention of his name. You don't know what you're cheering for, you morons. Not long ago, political violence, even fictionalized, sparked bipartisan outrage. Today, it sells tickets, and the speed of that shift says more about us than it does about one-off Broadway production. This is a phenomenon mostly of the left. There is some of it on the right. The celebration of violence. I don't see very much of it. It seems to be about 95% on the left now. It's pretty much normalized. You see it from doctors, dentists, professors, psychologists. We're not talking about just random, crazy people, homeless people, say, with schizophrenia. No, these are like professionals are celebrating this sort of thing. They're celebrating stuff like the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is no different. It's always just about the revolution, right? These don't look like homeless people, like well, this one maybe is schizophrenic. I don't know. But that one maybe, yeah, okay, on the line. But it's normalized. It's so normal that people will go on social media and film themselves celebrating something genuinely horrific, right? Here's Luigi. Look at this, dressed up as Luigi there. These people don't know what they want. They don't know what they're asking for. They're insane. Don't want to live in a world where just assassination becomes normal. A leftist protester wearing a Luigi costume and a depose sign at the April 5th anti-Trump rally in Manhattan denies making a reference to Luigi Mangione. Yeah, because obviously you are. Let's say so. That's from 2025, April 2025. So it says something, this says something very dangerous about society, and particularly about where modern leftism is. I mean, I've been saying for a while now, you can't churn out a new generation of Red Guard, of revolutionary communists from higher education every year and expect not to have a bunch of revolutionary communists. You can't have the entire education system taken over by critical pedagogy, whose explicit purpose is to create revolutionaries, okay, and not end up with a bunch of psychotic revolutionaries. That's just going to happen. Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? And society is going to have to deal with this. All right. Let me get rid of these two. What do we have here? All right, let's get back to the chat for a second. All right. Maybe we should do an ad read. That'd be fun. Oh, here we go. Let's do this right now. Right now. Let's go. Oh, not letting me do it. There's an ad read for $1.82. It won't let me do it now. God damn it. Now it's got down to $1.73. All right, here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons I'm using Rumble. They made a way to super chat creators so we get paid immediately and without any fees. YouTube and Twitch take up to 50% fees when you tip creators. This method takes an on. Right now, the platform takes 0 fees. I keep nearly 100% of what you send me. You can super chat with Bitcoin, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stable coins. The tip will show up directly in our Rumble chat, which I'll do my best read, which I'll do my best read for, and I might even write my own script for it. All you need to do is download the Rumble wallet on the App Store and send the tips to your favorite creators. You can go to wallet.rumble.com. That's wallet.rumble.com. Or you can download the app directly from the app stores. Seriously, what an amazing way to get rid of the middleman and help the creator economy. Shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology. All right. Well, that was very exciting. That's my first time reading that one. First time. And yeah, I need to unless I'm crazy, it needed a copy edit there. But anyway, not to blame. I mean, it's still beautiful. It's still like poetry, basically. So it went very well, I think. Very, very well indeed. All right. Let's see what's going on. Let's see. Izzy says the media needs to be called out for this BS. Just everything is BS for the media, just the whole thing. Mental Health says Rosie got dethroned as best person ever. No, I mean, here's the thing, though. Once you're best person ever, you're eternally best person ever. So until the next person. But then you still are. I'm not sure how it works, actually. Let's see. Spambot said, I thought it was Nintendo IP. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. Izzy says, what the fuck? Are you for real? People are broken. People are broken. A lot of leftists are broken, unfortunately. Democrats are a death cult, True to Survivor says. Well, it's not all, but I mean, the number in polling done after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the numbers of people who would, support it in some circumstance, I'm talking about political assassination here, was frighteningly high. It was like 50%, I think. So it's not just like a few randos, Let's see. Rosie says Eric John is using a different tip wallet. We'll DM you on X. I'm having some trouble getting the Rumble wallet going. I don't have it yet, you guys, so. Rosie says, great Rumble wallet ad. Not enough commie hate. 9 out of 10. That's still the most you get out of 10, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Let's see. Mental Health says barbed wire wrapped aluminum baseball bats are how I would deal with a psycho. Izzy says Mental Health, that sounds like a good backup weapon in the zombie apocalypse. Have you been to like Vancouver, for instance, or like or in the States, Portland? The zombie apocalypse is already happening. All right. Let's move it. Let's move on. What do we got here? So, last year, we started getting polling in Canada about whether or not Canadians thought Canada should join the EU. Because we had Mark Carney talking about how Canada is the most European of the non-European countries. which means nothing. No, we're not. We're far more like the United States than Europe. That's just ridiculous. Canada is far more like the US than it is Germany or Spain, right? Why is Mark Carney spouting this gibberish? It sounds like he wants to draw closer to the EU and further away from the United States, which is insane. But we keep seeing this. It's come back up again here. As Carney seeks strengthened global alliances, is it time Canada joined the EU? No, no. Any time is a terrible time to join that crumbling edifice, the EU, that suicidally stupid continent that's in the process of deindustrializing itself. Why? Well, I guess for the reasons that somebody like Mark Carney would like them to. Net zero. New polling shows just under half of Canadians support the idea, but there are costs. Oh, you don't say. Let's see. 5 minutes ago, it was elbows up. We'll never give away our sovereignty. And all of a sudden, almost half of Canadians want to give up their sovereignty. On what? Well, let's see. On trade, on immigration. Yeah, once you join the EU, you're not really your own country anymore. Now you're an EU country. Right now, bureaucrats in Brussels are going to be making the decisions for you. You can vote, but, not going to do much. Not going to do much. Let's see. What's going on here? Fact check. Has the economic gap between Europe and the United States increased in the past decade? This is from April of last year. In recent years, the U.S. economy has grown at a faster rate than the European Union's, which is currently made up of 27 member states. According to the World Bank, in the period of 2008 to 2023, EU GDP grew by 13.5%, while U.S. GDP rose by 87%. That's not a typo. 87%, 13.5% to 87%. The UK's GDP increased by 15.4%. So the major factor for this widening economic gap is a discrepancy in productivity, according to the Draghi report on EU competitiveness. The report notes that out of the largest 50 technology firms in the world, only 4 are in Europe. Why would we want to join those losers? Not the people of Europe, the governments of Europe, the EU itself, the bureaucrats of the EU. Why would we want to join these losers and fall with them? Right? Clearly, the largest economy in the world is the United States. And regardless whether it's Democrat or Republican, the arrow keeps going up. Maybe it's not always going up as fast as at other times, but it's always going up. Right now, Canada, GDP per capita, going down. Used to be par with the United States, or very close to par. So, as Carney seeks strength in global alliances, is it time Canada joined the EU? No, that's a terrible, terrible idea. If Canada wants to become a third world country and be used as a bargaining chip by the EU for the United States, I guess unless you want something insane like that, then no, I don't want that. It's a terrible, terrible idea. I think we should make sure that we maintain our relationships with the United States and try and maintain, if we could just have the same deal, the same Kuzma USMCA deal as we have now, if we could just negotiate it, just have the exact same deal, that would be fine. That would be just fine, actually, considering the catastrophe it would be to not have it in place, to not have 85% of our goods going across tariff-free. But these articles, these are not an accident, okay? This is the CBC. The CBC is just a marketing arm of the Liberal Party of Canada. I would not be at all surprised to find out if there's not just a permanent liaison between the Prime Minister's office and the editorial board at the CBC, which goes one way. It's just, this is what you're doing. PMO says this is what you're running stories on. Just manufacturing consent, I guess. This is an insane, incredibly stupid idea. And because it's Canada, probably happen. probably happen. Canadians, I think we might be at a point now where there's enough Canadians that are so brainwashed that they could literally be starving to death, watching their families starve to death. And they'll go, oh, I don't know about that Mr. Carney. What we really need is a new liberal prime minister. That'll fix everything. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. But I guess we're going to find out. Here's from August 2nd, 2025. Canada joining the EU is like boarding the Titanic after it hit the iceberg. France is rioting. Well, France is always rioting. Germany's in recession, still in recession, and they just bent the knee to Trump. Why the hell would we tie ourselves to a sinking socialist circus? So this was a poll, August 2nd, 2025. Yes, 46%. No, 38%. So, yeah, I mean, can Canada really be this dumb? I don't know. Doesn't sound like the polling has moved much anyway. Get back to the chat for a second. What are you guys talking about? Mental Health says, I've lived in Seattle. Is that part of the zombie talk? Because I hear you got a lot of zombies there. Let's see. Izzy says, makes perfect sense to join a union on the other side of the world. Well, the response from, I don't know who it was it von der Leyen, said, well, there is the matter of Canada not being a part of Europe. So there's that. But I think Canada would make a useful bargaining chip for the EU against the United States, which of course would be catastrophic for Canada, right? Or China for that matter too. Of course, that would be catastrophic for Canada, for the Canadian economy. We use as a bargaining chip like that to benefit other countries, our so-called friends, the great middle powers, which apparently Carney's leading, which apparently looks like he's not leading at all, and the whole thing is just totally imaginary. Somebody please tell Rosemary Barton's teleprompter that. Please inform them. Let's see. Mental Health says nothing Mark Carney does make sense. Well, it only makes sense it only makes sense from the perspective of what benefits Mark Carney personally. Yeah, Izzy's right there. Only if you think he's doing it to benefit Canada. No, it makes perfect sense if he's just a soulless, greedy central banker who's trying to enrich himself. All right, looks like Mental Health is too tired. See you later, Mental Health. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow or Tuesday night. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says Carney wants Canada to join the UK EU for a reason, to implement digital passports. UK is already implementing an app you have to have on your phone as a traveler, even simply to lay over in the UK. He can just do that anyway. If he gets a majority, he can do whatever the hell he wants. I think it's to tie in. He thinks there's more profit that way with the EU for the net zero stuff for Brookfield and himself. And the US is totally out with that. So there's no money there. There's no net zero money in the States now. So he thinks that Europe is the key to that now, to maximizing his profits. Bambot says smooth-brained idiot voters in Eastern Canada are stupid enough to vote for the EU. Yeah, we have enough problems just with our own homegrown, radical, progressive socialists. We don't need another full continent of them. That's crazy. All right. What do I got on here? So, yeah. Carney calls by-elections in Quebec riding of Terrebonne, 2 Toronto ridings. Liberals will need to win all 3 races to secure thin majority government. So Terrebonne is the one that was overturned because it was won by 1 vote, and somehow Elections Canada mailed out some ballots with the wrong return address on them, and it just happened to affect a non-liberal vote, a Bloc Québécois vote. So anyway, that was overturned, so they're having a by-election for that. That's I mean, what I'm hearing is that it's a toss-up. I mean, we can hope and pray that they lose. If they do lose that and he doesn't get his majority, then I think maybe you can see him calling election, depending on how the polls are doing soon after that. But we shall have to see. Everything always seems to go the way of the liberals when they really need it to somehow. I think it's comforting for somebody like Mark Carney, knowing that if there's anything that seems weird about it, the election, anything weird, anything strange, anything that might seem like it might have been compromised in some way, the media will 100%, the mainstream media will 100% cover for him. So that must be comforting for him to know. Let's see. All right. Let us move on. What do we got here? So, bad development. Do you guys remember this guy, Jason Jacques, the parliamentary budget officer? And he told us this. Let's take a look.
Should be very alarming, right? These are, I don't know, I think I use the words in French, which the translators probably got really well, like stupefying, shocking, right? This is not, like, it's not a funny fiscal outlook. It's a really serious fiscal outlook. And we don't lightly use the word unsustainable, right? Unsustainable means you don't have the option of saying, maybe I'll wait a couple of years, I'll see how things go. It means if you don't change, this is done, right?
Well, that doesn't sound good. If you don't change, this is done. Unsustainable. So that was the fiscal outlook last year under Mark Carney. And I think Mark Carney wasn't pleased with the parliamentary budget officer telling the country that, we're screwed. Like, if nothing changes, we're screwed. Because obviously Mark Carney is not changing anything. In fact, he's Turbo Trudeau, doubled the deficit from what Justin Trudeau himself wanted to do. So what's his reward for this? I think you might be able to guess. Let's see. Carney shuts the door on independent fiscal oversight. Well, this isn't a good thing, is it? Let's say Stephanie Cusey. Stephanie Cusey, member of Parliament, Calgary, Midnapore. Carney shuts the door on independent fiscal oversight. Earlier this week, Canada's interim parliamentary budget officer, Jason Jacques, finished his final day in the role. Appointed on a 6-month interim basis last September, Mr. Jacques quickly became a valuable resource for parliamentarians and Canadians alike who value a strong, independent voice and researcher on government spending. And that's the role of the parliamentary budget officer. It's supposed to be nonpartisan and just tell the truth so everybody knows what's actually happening. And to, ring the alarm bells if necessary. He did that. That's his job. Didn't go over well with the Carney government. That interim appointment was supposed to bridge the gap until a permanent parliamentary budget officer could be appointed to a 7-year term. The process is straightforward. The candidate must be approved by cabinet and confirmed by a vote in the House of Commons. Instead, the process was stalled by the Liberals for some crazy reason. The Liberal government has chosen to leave the position vacant. So no supervision. Vacant, rather than work with opposition parties to appoint a new PBO. So Conservatives, along with other opposition parties, have been ready to move quickly to fill the role. But you see, then Mark Carney might be held to account for his insanity, for his insane spending, and for his apparent incompetence in running the company. Apparently incompetence in running the Canadian economy. So let's not forget, Mark Carney was supposed to be the genius economist who knows how the world works. Well, not so much. He knows how the world goes broke, apparently. Let's see. Bradshaw posted, what is Mark Carney doing? Seals COVID documents for 15 years, Signs away land in Vancouver, spending spree with no PBO, Liberal cabinet a mess, former Liberals getting deals, Brookfield getting deals left, right, and center, censoring debates. This isn't a democracy anymore, if you haven't noticed. Yeah, all of the corruption from the Trudeau Liberal Party still there. In fact, it's on turbo mode. He's Turbo Trudeau. Brookfield just follows Carney around the world on the Carney's Brookfield World Tour. They just follow him around and sign deals after he leaves. For some reason that works out for them. I can't imagine why. Let's see. So the one guy who was telling Canadians the truth, he's out, and now there's just nobody to tell Canadians the truth. Let's take a look. Let's have another look here of why they might want to get rid of this guy.
You say that you have concerns about the sustainability of our financial picture here in this country. Like, what in layman's terms does that mean?
I think certainly from our perspective, we're at the precipice. So we haven't gone over the precipice. We're kind of looking out over the cliff at this point.
So at the precipice, out looking over the cliff.
And we're at a point where, based upon our numbers, things cannot continue as they are. And I think everybody knows that, right? So
Carney doesn't know that. He doubled the deficit. He doesn't know that.
What we've done is we've taken what everybody's feeling in terms of the anxiety across the country at this point, positive economic growth that doesn't necessarily feel very good. And we've actually put numbers around it with respect to the federal government's deficits over the next 5 years. And for us, it's really important to set the table for parliamentarians so they know what to expect, so they have a better sense of the overall context within which they're going to be presented with Budget 2025.
You say...
But what if Mark Carney's purpose is to simply extract every bit of wealth out of the country and give it to his net zero agenda, his net zero buddies, to Brookfield in subsidies for his own benefit? What if that's the goal? Well, then it wouldn't be very good having a guy like this, somebody who would just tell the truth, right? The truth is Mark Carney's enemy, I'm afraid. And Canada is going to pay for all this. It's going to pay for all this. All right. Let's move on. Let's go back to the chat for a second. What are you guys talking about? As he says, easier to control Canada with all the other countries in the EU. I mean, at this point, it seems insane, especially considering Canada's not in the EU, not in Europe, right? Would seem to be a major problem for joining the EU. But at this point, I mean, after that last election, electing the Liberals again, I'm never going to overestimate the Canadian voter again, right? I'm not talking about all the Canadian voters, obviously, right? Like, the Conservatives had a record turnout in the last election. It just didn't matter because of the collapse of the NDP. But Canadian leftist voters, the people who vote for the Liberals, who vote for the, people who vote for the Liberals, people who vote for the NDP, I'm never going to overestimate them again. Never. So really anything's on the table. Let's see. Like, if Carney proposed that we change the name of the country to New Punjab and import 100 million people from the Punjab region of India, and won a massive, the largest majority, and won the largest majority in election history in Canada, I wouldn't be surprised by that at this point. I'm saying literally, I would not be surprised if Mark Carney announced that Canada was going to be called New Punjab and he was going to import 100 million people in a year to Canada. I would not be surprised if he won the next election in a landslide, massive landslide. That's how little faith I have in the Canadian vote right now. Let's see. As he says, oh, call me surprised. Why would Carney need anyone to look over his spending policies? Well, he's the economic genius, didn't you know? Nobody knows more about economics than Mark Carney. Let's see. Let's see. As he says, I'm so sickened by Canadian politics. Me too. Me too. But there's still light at the end of the tunnel, I believe. Let's see. As he says, Alberta independence now. Well, it looks like, I was looking into it earlier today or yesterday, and it looks like for sure you're going to get the 177,000 signatures for the petition. That looks like a lock. So now, as for the referendum, I don't know. Bambot says, if the PPC had not split the Conservative vote, we could have had a Conservative majority. Well, how much was the PPC? It was about 1%, something like that. So maybe it did cost us a few seats for sure. I'm not sure if it would have put us over the edge. But I don't know. Maybe I should take a closer look into that when I'm not streaming. Let's see. All right. So what do we got next? More Canadian news. So much Canadian news. Everybody loves it. Pierre Poilievre, smoky, slow, rattling 2 cylinders, hop into a Soviet set of wheels. No wonder he's smiling there. I'm sure he's laughing a lot. I haven't watched this yet. I'll be watching this with you for the first time. But as you know, Pierre Poilievre, not a big fan of communism. So let's see what he thinks of these commie cars.
Welcome to Travi World, where you can drive one of these beauties off the lot. If you put your order in today, they will be ready in about 12 years. Yes, this was the East German vehicle. If you lived in this area where I am today in Berlin, you would place your order and wait just over a decade for the Soviet system to produce you a car. Many parents would actually place the order right when their kids were born so that they could be guaranteed that when they grew up, they'd have an automobile. That such was the clunky Soviet system of production. Ronald Reagan used to love to tell a hilarious story of a man who walked into a Soviet car dealership and said, I'd like to get a truck. And the man behind the desk said, well, a car it is. What color would you like? He said, I'd like blue. And the man said, red it is. And said, would you like it to be 4-door or 2? He said, 4. The man said, 2 it is. Slightly dejected, the man looking for the car said, when can I pick it up? And the man behind the desk said, well, it will be ready in 10 years. To which the customer said, will that be in the morning or the evening? And the man behind the desk said, what does it matter? It's 10 years from now. To which the customer said, well, it's just that the plumber's coming in the morning. You gotta love communism, folks.
See, this sells me, right? Making fun of commies. This sells me right here. More of this, please, Pierre. More of this. In fact, just more of this and whatever it is, just more videos, keep them coming, do more podcasts. He's got to break through the tsunami of mainstream media propaganda and lies against him. And this is the way to do it. Fewer and fewer people are watching CBC and CTV and global news, nightly news every year, probably, I guess, every day, really. And more and more people are going to get to know him this way, through this stuff, right? Through the social media stuff. Keep doing it. It's a side that the mainstream media has desperately tried to convince the Canadian people doesn't exist, right? He has been stereotyped as some Maple MAGA mean far right, and he's mean. He's mean. He's so mean. And he's divisive. Because, nobody has ever seen an opposition leader be divisive before. Pierre Poilievre obviously invented it. Nobody's ever seen that before. And, Justin Trudeau was never divisive, right? He was never divisive when he asked if there's whole swaths of the population. He asked, should we tolerate them? right? And called them bigots and misogynists and racists because they disagreed with him. That wasn't a division. That wasn't division from Trudeau, right? Yeah. Pierre Poilievre needs to break through the media messaging because it's not going to stop. They're not going to grow a conscience or a spine or decide that actually they did want to be real journalists again. No, that's not going to happen. So he has to keep doing this and lots of it because, again, I think it will break through, and it's the only thing he can do. It's the only way to break through. All right, more of this and more of the anti-commie stuff from Poilievre because I'm loving it, as well as Jamil Javani as well. They should get together and do an anti-commie thing together, actually. That would be fantastic. That'd be capital. All right. Do we have anything else? All right. I want to watch this. So from Jinglei He, Pierre Poilievre says that Canada needs to have a solid friendship, security partnership, and free trade agreement with the U.S. and fully rejects Mark Carney's New World Order rhetoric. So what we need in Canada is realism, a recognition that, yes, of course, we'll try and expand our trade where we may. But we're going to wake up every morning and the United States is still going to have this giant border with us with all those roads and railway tracks and everything and all that stuff that makes it perfect for trade, you know, the bridges. And they're still going to be the largest, by far the largest economy in the world. They're still going to be the largest economy in the world, and Canada is still going to have to rely on them for at least 75% of our exports. And nothing is going to change that because there's only so many bottles of maple syrup that we can sell to Tonga. All right. Let's take a look.
But the idea that we can have a permanent rupture with our closest neighbor and biggest customer in favor of a strategic partnership for a new world order with China is not on. It's just not going to happen. We sell 20 times as much to the Americans as we do to the Chinese. American capitalism is the single biggest economic force in the history of the world. And they live right next door. So we need to have a solid friendship, free trade agreement, and of course, security partnership with the United States. And there's no way that China or anyone else will replace that relationship. But the idea that we can have a permanent...
Yeah, it's just not realistic. And but China is also like a far less reliable trading partner than the United States, by the way. Let's say they're a totalitarian communist state. That's not really very communist even anymore. Now it's more kind of like a neo-fascist state. But again, not really the best for trade, not the most trustworthy, are they? I mean, has everybody forgotten that has everybody forgotten that they took Canadians as political hostages, the two Michaels? Everybody forgotten about that? You know, how about, just slapping on 100% tariffs on us? 100% tariffs. It was after the U.S. tariffs. I mean, it's total lunacy. It's never going to happen. And by the way, China's in the business of selling stuff to us, right? They're very protectionist with much of their. They're very protectionist with much of their market. In fact, a lot of their exports are subsidized so they can corner the market in places like Canada. This is not a great idea. So Pierre's strategy on this, what he's been talking about is that, yes, let's expand where we can, but let's also be realistic and recognize that our most important trading partner is the United States. Every day we're going to wake up and it's still going to be our most important because that's just reality. All right. What do we got here? All right. Go back to the chat for a second. Why not? Let's do it. Spambot's getting very tired. Smoke some crack. Smoke some crack, Spambot. I'm telling you, it works. Spambot says, China is reliable. Reliably evil. Reliably unfair in trade, he's right. Reliably corrupt, he's correct. Reliably protectionist, he's correct. 100%. I mean, how do people not know this? Like, some large part of the liberal voting bloc is just like in love with China suddenly because Rosemary Barton's teleprompter told them to be. I mean, how do people not know this stuff? Insane. Rosie says, no, Spambot, do not smoke some crack. It's not addictive, I don't think. Of course not. Let's see. What's going on here? Elon Musk posted this. He said, the lunatic left that took over Twitter was worm tongue to the world. Firing Jack was the final straw. He was the last bulwark. Now Brett Taylor is chair of OpenAI. So why did he post this? Matt Van Swole posted this. The graphic of people, but especially kids, identifying as transgender literally nosedives as soon as Elon buys Twitter. Almost like it was a social contagion. And people couldn't talk about it because they were being censored. Imagine that. So Elon Musk buys Twitter, and all of a sudden it starts going down. Now, it was still on, I guess, TikTok and probably Instagram and all of that. But on Twitter, and maybe what happened is that truth started being revealed that made its way onto other platforms as well. But you can see Elon buys Twitter, it starts going down. So it seems perfectly obvious, I mean, beyond obvious, that explosion in people, but especially children identifying as, gender dysphoric was a social contagion. I mean, it just had all the hallmarks of it, right? It just seemed so obviously so. Now, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay. So, Manhattan Institute, evidence backs the transgender social contagion hypothesis. So this is written by Colin Wright, who I've quoted quite a bit on X. The share of young people claiming another gender identity exploded. Now surveys show it is receding. I was an academic scientist at Penn State in February 2020 when I became the target of an online mob for tweeting about transgender identity. Let's make this a little bigger. Oops. I shared a link to an article from The Guardian with the accompanying quote, Sweden's Board of Health and Welfare confirmed a 1,500% rise between 2008 and 2018 in gender dysphoria diagnoses among 13 to 17-year-olds born as girls. Now, we know that girls are more susceptible to social contagion. My commentary was brief. 2 words, social contagion. I was referring to research published by Lisa Littman, a physician and researcher formerly with Brown University, who had coined the term rapid onset gender dysphoria. In a 2018 peer-reviewed paper to describe a newly emerging cohort of adolescents, overwhelmingly girls with no childhood history of gender dysphoria or even sex nonconformity, who suddenly began describing themselves as transgender, often after friends in their peer groups did the same. Dr. Littman proposed that this pattern was best explained by a social contagion, meaning the spread of ideas or behaviors through peer influence. The term isn't an insult. It's a well-established sociological concept used to describe how trends such as eating disorders and even suicide clusters can spread. Now, every sane person would see this and go, okay, it's pretty clear. It's very likely this is what is happening. It's not that just suddenly there's like all these children that were born in the wrong body somehow, as if that even makes sense. Take a look at this. Rapid onset of tic-like behaviors in teenage girls is a rising phenomenon, often linked to functional neurological disorders rather than classic Tourette syndrome. Characterized by sudden, severe, and complex movements, vocalizations, these symptoms are heavily influenced by social media exposure, anxiety, and pandemic-related stress, often appearing in older teens with no prior history. They don't have Tourette's, all right? They've been heavily influenced by social media exposure, anxiety. So nobody questioned this, by the way. Nobody questioned this. Right? Nobody said that anybody is bigoted or racist or phobic over this, over saying this, right? Because it's just so obvious. Unfortunately, every institution, almost every institution, has been totally parasitized by an idea pathogen and by lunatics who will viciously attack anybody who doesn't go along with the fantasy world. Now, there's been progress, a lot of progress, actually. There was a cast review in the UK, but look at this. Sweden has, and this is from an article from 2022. Sweden has experienced a dramatic 1,500% increase in referrals for gender dysphoria among adolescents 13 to 17, particularly those born female. Between 2008 and 2018, this surge, often referred to in clinical and public debate as rapid onset gender dysphoria, or characterized by a sudden emergence of symptoms during or after puberty, led to a major shift in the country's approach to youth gender. So what happened? They shifted to caution. Sweden has moved away from the gender affirmative model and now prioritizes psychological support, restricting puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. So, look, studies in Sweden have shown high rates of comorbidities among this group, including autism, ADHD, depression, and anxiety. It's just right there. It's obvious under everybody's nose. This whole thing, this gender affirming care, this is all just experiments. These are gender medicine experiments. It's obvious. It's obvious what's happening here. What is a social contagion? The rapid, often unconscious spread of emotions, behaviors, or attitudes through a group or social network, functioning much like a virus. It's obvious what's happened. It's obvious. Utterly obvious. And the people who deny it and they call you a bigot or a phobe for pointing this out are psychos. They're just bad people. Like totally resistant to reality and willing to hurt countless people for their ideology, but because they're ideologues, because they're just going to hew with whatever is politically fashionable, which I think is evil. That's what I think. Let's see. Let's check out what you guys are saying. Bearbot says, I had childhood asthma. I will never inhale smoke on purpose. So no crack smoking for Bearbot. Thank God. This is a great point to suggest that anybody watching right now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. All right, get your free good karma. In these troubled times, you can't turn your back on free good karma. I heard a guy did that. He got lupus the next day. Lupus. Now he's not happy. I'll tell you that much. Izzy says, you can tell the people that do watch mainstream media, they know the talking points and nothing more. And the talking points are literally just, oh, well, he's a racist, or he doesn't like this or that. That's the talking points, right? Oh, I think that he's mean. These are the literal talking points that you will hear this. Talk to liberal voters. You will hear these talking points. As he says, I think you're talking about China here. How about stealing our science and biohazard research? Yep. They literally stole like viruses out of a Canadian lab, and sent it to China. What's happening in Canada can only happen with the absolute collusion of the media, with the Liberal Party having an iron grip on the mainstream media. Let's see. All right. Radio Streamer, how you doing, Radio Streamer? Unfortunately, it turns out Radio Streamer learned to type at the Leering Center. Oh, not at the Leering Center. But did you learn how to speak Somalian fluently? Because that's a skill that nobody needs. Let's see. Well, something really wonderful has just happened here. It looks like we got a two-timer here with Spambot. Spambot has just gifted another subscription to Radio Baloney. I mean, this is a beautiful moment for everybody. You know what that means, folks. Best person ever. You know, I was watching this movie the other day with like all these superheroes, like an Avengers thing, right? And they're pretty cool, these superhero people. You know, they're awesome. They're not real, but if they were, they'd be pretty cool. But I'm telling you right now, all garbage compared to Spambot. All garbage. Nobody could write the splendor that is Spambot, the inspiration and the splendor that is Spambot. Nobody can even write that. You couldn't make a movie about it, right? There'd be no point. You couldn't do it. It just transcends language. So in any case, thank you for gifting that subscription, and best person ever. And it is, of course, the best thing that anybody can do for the channel. So thank you very much, Spambot. What a kind man, huh? What a kind man. Let's see. Spambot says, nobody can rob me like the government can. Yeah, literally. Like it's legal for them to do it. Spambot says, Rumble is lagged. I don't know, how's it for everybody else? We do hear this occasionally. What about on X? Is it doing better on X? All right. And Radio Streamer was a lucky soul who got gifted that membership by Spambot. What a wonderful thing. What a wonderful moment. I'm glad you guys were all here to witness that. All right, what do we do now? So we did the gender stuff, and then we're going to do this very quickly. Ryan Garrettson, I think one of you guys sent this in. Might have been Spambot that sent this in. And we know exactly who this beer was marketed to, and this guy nails it. So this is Ryan Garrettson. Sorry, hold on to you guys. I'm like hiccuping and burping all at once. All right. Ryan Garrettson. We know exactly who this beer was marketed to, and this guy nails it. Well, let's take a look. It's Elbows Up Beer. Ooh, that doesn't sound very good.
If you're a proponent of bank account seizures, the imprisonment of pastors, violent attacks on protesters, and the confiscation of personal property, this beer is for you. If you're like us and you're a proponent of locking up the border and destroying small business related to the tourism industry, then this beer is for you. If you love fear-mongering, threatening, name-calling, and leaving the research to others, then this beer is for you. Once you've run out of Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light, this beer is for you. So if you like to alienate your customer base, this beer is for you. If you're a proponent of bank account seizures,
hello, I think am I back? I'm back. Okay. Yeah, so if you ran out of Dylan Mulvaney's Bud Light, this is for you. That was a good line. The sad thing about this is that really, it's like a majority of the country is actually fine with all those things. I mean, they would happily drink the elbows up beer and honor all of those dystopian things that this man has stated. That's sad. I mean, a lot of people watching from outside of Canada may not know that, but yeah, it's like I think over 50% of Canadians actually deeply value having the boot on their face. Right? It's a weird thing. It's a Canada that I never thought that I would see, but it was all revealed. It was all revealed to us during the lockdowns and the mandates. Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, a lot of Canadians would watch this and nod enthusiastically, unironically, because they do like all that stuff, which is very, very, very sad. Let's see. Izzy says, hiccup burps are the worst. You telling me? Radio Streamer was the recipient of that membership from Spambot, and he's saying right now, his testimony is, what is this magical feeling? Well, that's the magic. That's the magic of Radio Baloney memberships and getting one for free. He says that he can feel his hairline starting to fill in. It's amazing. Thank you, he says. That's what happens. I can't guarantee that, though, for anybody. Let's see. Spambot says, as soon as I saw that elbows up can, I sent it without even listening to it. That was the right choice. Straber says, gold, pure gold, precious, precious gold. Izzy says, not a bad marketing campaign in the East. Yeah, it would totally work. Totally work in Ontario, apparently. Yikes. Or the Maritimes. What is this? Oh, yeah. So comedian Ben Bankus, which we've watched clips of him on this show before. He is having shows canceled in Canada by the woke mob. Kim Goldberg posted this. Nanaimo's Port Theatre cancels show by comedian Ben Bankus. Despite tickets selling out, 800 people, citizens complained to City Council that they didn't like his jokes. Council wrote the theater, and the theater axed his show. Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, they say. So, yeah, he sold out. 800 people wanted to go, but that doesn't matter because there were some crybabies who don't like his jokes, and they don't like comedy. They don't like people saying things they don't like, and they're offended. So 800 people have to be disappointed because woke lunatics, because the woke Gestapo is just not having it. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the state. And then I think there was another venue on Vancouver Island that canceled them as well. It's the state of Canada. You would have thought this stuff was over by now, right? That people would have grown some kind of a spine, but no. Vancouver Island, the southern part of Vancouver Island is very woke, by the way. Very woke. All right. Shall we do the meme review? Why not? Let's do the meme review. Give me 1 second. All right, what's going on? DMAX. So DMAX Cat, what's this? Let's see. Liberals trying to figure out which flag to fly this month. See, in Canada, this is very representative. That's a liberal boomer woman right there who's very, very excited for whatever current thing is. Right? She doesn't understand that it's never the issue. The issue is always the revolution. She doesn't know that. She just knows that what's fashionable and how to be a liberal boomer revolutionary, apparently, with a lot of home equity. Yeah. Anyway, this actually describes an actual variety of human, unfortunately. Let's see. Sassglass posted this fact. Let's see. How many liberals does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather sit in the dark and blame Trump. Yeah. Do I have even anything to add to this? They'd rather sit in the dark and blame Trump. Well, Trump is the boogeyman for them. right? So he's, you know, a lot of the, I'm trying to connect a train of thought here. It's not working. Hold on a second.
I ain't got a good brain.
Yeah, so in Canada, Trump is probably the most unpopular of any country in the world. I mean, the Canadian people have been trained by the mainstream media to absolutely despise Trump. He's very, very unpopular here. He's only got like a 27% approval or something in Canada. Not that it matters to Trump. I don't think that he cares, but it's a testament to how indoctrinated Canadians are by their mainstream media. And he's just their boogeyman for everything, right? No matter what it is. He's used basically as a tool by the mainstream media to forgive the Liberal government all of their horrific decisions and the consequences of their terrible policy. Just blame Trump. Let's see. Community notes and violations. What's this? Beware. In nature, poisonous creatures will often develop bright colors to warn others of their toxicity. And, oh, geez. Yes, these are both extremely toxic. Extremely toxic. And it's actually true, you know. Warning colors in the animal kingdom. Let's see. In the natural world, many different animal species. Hold on, let's make this bigger. And this is from American Museum of Natural History. Warning colors in the animal kingdom. In the natural world, many different animal species use bright colors and patterns to advertise the fact they would make a horrible snack or maybe a horrible mate, perhaps. At the museum's exhibition, The Power of Poison, you'll learn how certain colors may signal that an animal is poisonous or venomous. These warning colors are good for both predators and prey, as they can be seen in a variety of species. These warning colors are good for both predators and prey and can be seen in a variety of species, ranging from moths to mammals across the animal kingdom to, moths to mammals to woke dingbat to crazy woke leftist woman. So let's see. What were those? What did they say again? Let's see. Poisonous or venomous? Checks out. Checks out 100%. Pure poison and venom. Stay away. It's a warning. Stay away from me. Across a variety of species. All right, let's move on. Alex I-450, happy Sunday. Could have ironed it. International Women's Day. They could have ironed it, huh? God damn it. Get back to work. The house is a disaster area. What have you been doing, woman? Let's see. What's going on here? Happy International Women's Day. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Well, that was Cat Canada. Oh, dear. Yeah. What does that say? Is that misogynistic? Is this misogynistic? I don't know. Let's see. This is from Alpha Fox. A good kick in the balls will solve your gender confusion. It does help, I think. It does help. Let's see. David Keyes, spotted in Tehran. This is getting pathetic. Let's see. Want to be Supreme Leader? Volunteer today. Briefly. Do you want to be the Supreme Leader? For the afternoon? Maybe till tomorrow. No later than tomorrow night, really. You can't promise any longer than that. Yeah, they tend to be let's just say it's a part-time position. A temporary position. Let's see. Fight with names. That's the perfect analogy, actually. Let's see. Wei Wu. When a pig going wild, pig takes 6 weeks, then actually evolve to become wild boar. The pig before may be cute, but after evolve, the wild boar be most aggressive and smart. All wild boar do is eat, fight, and do slut behavior. Much danger for all animal around. Now you understand divorced white liberal women. Let's see. Eat, fight, and do slut behavior. It's tough but fair. Tough but fair. Pig before may be cute. Yeah. Is this why the West is doomed? Let's see. All Canadian mom. Let's see. Yoga, vodka. Who's having more fun? I think it's actually the yoga lady. Yeah, I think he went from having fun to too much fun to really too much fun, and now it's just not fun anymore. Get yourself to a meeting, pal. Let's see. Alex, now that's an investment in a better future. Called my stockbroker this morning and asked him, what should I be buying? He said, canned goods and ammunition. Are we there yet? I hope everybody's got a stockpile of ammunition and canned goods already. And water, don't forget the water. Don't forget the water. In Canada, a technocrat globalist central banker is about to bankrupt the country. And in the States, you got the midterms coming up. So canned goods, my friends, and water. Let's see. Trolling Canuck, absolutely 100%. Well, what is this? The people who are not horrified at the current state of Canada horrify me the most. This is the scary thing, is that, before the lockdowns and before the mandates, I never would have believed how craven a majority of the population of Canada would be, right? That they would accept it, not only accept it, they would like it. They would prefer having privileges over rights, right? They preferred to have the privilege to get on a plane or a train or go to a movie or go for dinner. They would prefer to have the privilege of doing that than just the right to do it. Because by having a privilege, making it a privilege, it meant other people couldn't do it. So if you were good boys and girls and you did what the government told you to, you did what Trudeau told you to, patted on the head, and you can go see a movie now. You're good girls and boys. You're good girls and boys. Not like those bad people. It turns out, I think a majority of Canadians actually preferred that. I never thought I'd see the day, but I did, and I'm shocked. And I was shocked, and I'm still shocked, to be honest. Let's Father Jim Sicko. Oh, Jim Sicko. Oh. St. Jude of the Lake. Whoever keeps praying for snow, we are impressed. Now pray for world peace. All right. Let's see. What's this? Wolf of X, Lindsay Sleeper. I never thought I would change my name when I got married. I was the first medical Dr. Newton in my family, and I'm very proud of that. But when presented with the opportunity to say, hi, I'm Dr. Sleeper, and I'll be your anesthesiologist, I just couldn't pass it up. That would kind of freak me out a little bit, actually. Sleeper, like permanent sleep. I know anesthesiologist, I make you go to sleep, but I don't know. I think it's weird. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Let's see. What's this? Hold on a second. G-Flood, how you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. Liberal tier creator. I like the sounds of that. What's going on here? I love the Marco Rubio memes. Let's see. Marco, King of Persia. I love these. I think they're great. They just have him in that chair and he's just whatever. I like it. He's funny. That's the only meme that works with him, though. Let's see. Terrence Peters. Mommy, is that a man or a woman? It's a Democrat, honey. Now, to be fair to the kid, it's, I think it should be stated, it's obviously a man, right? So it's a Democrat, honey. But the kid was right to be confused because it's obviously not a woman. Not a woman. Let's see. Let's move on. Declaration of memes. Revenge of the Smirk. On this day in 1953, Joseph Stalin, on this day in 1953, Joseph Stalin became a good communist. The best. The best. He really turned over a new leaf the day that he died. And while things may have still been terrible in the Soviet Union, not as terrible after that, after Joseph Stalin became a good communist. All right. Let's see, what do we got next? Planet of Memes, do your part to prevent the spread of germs. Let's see, the handshake, the greeting that spreads the most germs. The high five transfers half the bacteria of a handshake. That's 50% less. The fist bump transferring 90% fewer germs than the handshake. 90% less. The number one, 100% safe. So if you don't want to get sick, remember to give the proper greeting, the middle finger. It's 100% safe. Wait a second, it might not actually be. You could still end up with a problem. Let's say you could still end up not feeling very well because of that one. Let's see. Planet of Memes, that seems a bit extreme. What's he talking about? Shoplifters will be prostituted. No exceptions. Yikes. I wonder what like the rules are. It's like a loaf of bread is a hand job. Like what's like what's a watermelon, or like what's expensive? Like what's a steak in Canada? A steak? That's got to be like the full thing, like both sides. That's got to be the full menu. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Planet of Memes, well played indeed. Women in Japanese, noisy in Japanese. It's the same one, but more of them. So I think they're on top of it. You know what the great thing about Japan is that they don't mess around. They don't bull. They're just honest. Not well played, Japan. Well played indeed. Planet of Memes, what are your thoughts on the Obama Presidential Center? Let's see. So that's the Presidential Center, and that's a garbage bin. Corporate needs you to find the difference in these pictures. They're the same picture. They are. I mean, I guess it's Obama, so you would expect some postmodern monstrosity. So, you know, that's what they got. Nice. Nice. I mean, that is genuinely horrific looking, is it not? All right, let's move on. This looks like it could be just from like East Germany or something, right? Let's see. Planet of Memes. Meanwhile, American liberals, Ayatollah Khomeini. We did this one last time. They're so sad about it. That austere scholar. Is that what they're saying? All right. I think that's it. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's everything. All right. What was this? Oh, we did that one. All right. So let's go back to the chat for a minute. Has another wonderful thing happened here? Hold on a second. Another wonderful thing has happened. It's Spambot again. Spambot again. Holy jeez. Just when I think Spambot can't get any more awesome, this happens. Guess what? Best person ever. My good God, that's the third gifted subscription to Radio Baloney on Rumble from Spambot this evening. This is a truly, and this is an occasion I think we'll remember. I mean, this will be something you talk about with the grandchildren, right? This moment, 3 from Spambot in the same evening. I mean, what a massive achievement. What generosity. A lot of people call Spambot an Earth Angel. I just call him best person ever. What a marvelous thing. What a marvelous thing. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you think it's just going to be a regular day, and then boom, Spambot. Just racking up the free subscriptions. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. It's the best thing anybody can do for the channel, don't you know? Now, you got more people that can watch the premium stream tomorrow. I mean, how's that? Not bad, right? Not bad at all. All right. That was G-Flood got a membership. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Spambot says the good news for Ben Bankus, his gigs are getting canceled in British Columbia because woke lunatics just can't bear to have somebody tell jokes they don't like, but won't face a $750,000 fine from the Gestapo, known as the tribunals, the human rights tribunals. Yeah, so he's lucky for that. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. All right. Trudeau Survivor says, did you see the video of Cardi trying to speak Japanese to their PM and the PM clapping at him like he's a child? I don't think I've seen it. Maybe we have to look that up maybe at the end of the stream. Spambot says, now do the other links from the top of the stream chat. Well, where are they? Let's see. Are they way up there? Let's take a look. Let's see. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Spambot. Okay, here's one. Copy link address. Let's take a look. Oh, we did this one already, but this is a great one. Happy International Women's Day for all of their contributions. Yeah. Woman pilot on the plane. I'm getting off. No, I'll just drive it. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, let's find the next one. Spambot got another one. Scare report about the Tamiflu. All right, let's copy link address. All right, formerly Brooklyn mom. Let's see. This is terrifying, and the responses confirm this woman is not making this up. My happy-go-lucky, high-achieving, completely normal 11-year-old developed the flu last week. He took one dose of Tamiflu and suddenly developed suicidal ideation and attempted, but it was interrupted by an adult. He was absolutely petrified and begging for help, saying his brain felt on fire and the urge to end himself was like an itch. I can't. Jesus. He was hospitalized. We saw multiple psychiatrists and got him into therapy right away. 48 hours after taking the Tamiflu, the symptoms completely disappeared. The flu persisted, but the negative thoughts and ideation resolved. His pediatrician says he has seen this from Tamiflu and feels strongly that the drug was the cause of these sudden symptoms, and they shouldn't return once the drug is out of his system. Now I'm finding many cases in Japan and a few in the U.S. of, self-ending or attempted in children who took Tamiflu. Has anyone had a similar issue? I reported it to the FDA. I can't stop thinking I could have lost my child from this. Hopefully this post can help someone thinking about using this drug or who felt as bewildered and frightened as we did. You know what we're going to do? I don't have a ton of time to start researching this, but let's ask Grok. Nothing's perfect, but let's see. Replies from users validate the story through personal experiences of hallucinations in children on Tamiflu and references to known risks, including a Daily Med label warning of neuropsychiatric events like delirium and abnormal behavior. Jesus. Peer-reviewed studies show mixed results. A 2025 JAMA neurology analysis found no increased risk of serious neuropsychiatric events from blah, blah, blah. While earlier FDA mandated warnings since 2006 stem from rare pediatric cases, including Japanese advisories against use in adolescents. So there's something to it. There's smoke at that fire. Let's see. All right. So I got all your links now. Okay. Let's go to this now. Trudeau survivors getting in on the act here. All right. Drones, where's that? All right, let's take a look. All right. So what's going on here? Just have to get through this ad. There we go.
Buzzing through a school at 50 miles an hour? They're on a manhunt. Their target, an active shooter. But thankfully, this is just a demonstration for a new defense system called Campus Guardian Angel.
At Campus Guardian Angel, we're using drones with less lethal effect.
Sorry, I'll just rewind that. Hold on, you guys.
Tactical drones buzzing through a school at 50 miles an hour? They're on a manhunt. Their target, an active shooter. But thankfully, this is just a demonstration for a new defense system called Campus Guardian Angel.
At Campus Guardian Angel, we're using drones with less lethal effects to stop kids getting killed by active shooters in schools.
The drones are stored at schools inside these storage containers. If an alarm is tripped, the drones are released. Each drone is armed with non-lethal pepper ball rounds. And they even have the ability to ram their target.
It's really like having that elite SWAT or SEAL team in the parking lot ready to go. You hope you never need it, but if you do, it's there and it's there immediately.
They're all controlled remotely, here by a team of crack drone pilots, many of them ex-military. They're based at the company's headquarters in Austin.
In an active shooter situation, time is critical, and most of the shooting happens in the first 120 seconds. So the challenge was, how do you get something that's elite, but also instantaneous, and you can put it everywhere?
Grieving parents like Max Schachter say this new technology might have saved his son Alex, who was killed in the 2018 Parkland High School shooting that took 17 innocent lives in Florida.
If the school had the drones in the hallway, they could have taken the murderer out in just a matter of seconds and saved a lot of lives.
3 school districts in Florida have the drones, but there are plans to have them installed at schools across the country.
My only worry with that would be them getting hacked, and obviously Skynet, obviously, right? I think we're all worried about Skynet, obviously, with all the AI happening right now. But interesting idea. I say just give all the kids guns, big ones. That'll do it. All right. What was I going to do? All right. So, from John Rudstead, he was the former leader of the Conservative Party of British Columbia. He says Canadians were told there were 215 graves. This is at the Kamloops Residential School. The country lowered the national flag for months. Churches were burned. International headlines declared the discovery of mass graves at a former residential school. The federal government responded by allocating $12.1 million in taxpayer funding specifically to support investigation and exhumation work to verify those claims. Now we learn that no remains have been exhumed, and they haven't even tried. Supposedly. Here, from Holly Doan, Fed censor as confidential files on what Kamloops First Nation did with $12.1 million in funding to recover alleged Indian residential school graves. They acknowledged February 18th it never exhumed remains. The community received funding for field work. But this is what you get. So when you try and get the information, when you try and get the files, it's all just redacted. So why would they do that? Why would they redact everything? Because now you don't really know anything. Where did that money go? No idea. No idea. It makes you wonder, maybe they did do a little bit of exhumation, but there was nothing there. And they went, oh, so yeah, there's nothing here. This was a hoax. So ground penetrating radar can't tell you anything. It certainly can't tell you that there's a bunch of graves under the ground. It makes me wonder, but they're going to try and keep a lid on this and try and continue to deceive the public, as they have been about this the entire time. Because let's not forget, this was promoted, and not just in Kamloops, but across the entire country. This was promoted as just a done deal. Yeah, there was all these unmarked graves of children that like nuns had murdered, apparently. We're supposed to believe that. All across Canada. Let's see, where's... and it was all based on ground penetrating radar which doesn't tell you anything. It certainly can't tell you that there's graves in the ground. Here's Justin Trudeau, who immediately latched onto this for political expediency, with a teddy bear standing above nothing, above like rocks in the ground. There's nothing, right? But taking full advantage of the political opportunity. Let's see. Let's take a look at CBC. I just typed in unmarked graves found. How did they cover it? 41 more potential unmarked graves found at former BC residential school. Ground penetrating radar does not give you the evidence to suggest potential anything. You could say potential, like you could say potential dinosaur bones or potential, pixies, whatever. It doesn't tell you anything. There's something under the ground, and guess what? Pretty much everywhere you go, there's stuff under the ground. But this is how they did it. This is how they framed it to trick Canadians as more potential unmarked graves are found. I mean, this should be just written as more nothing are found. But as more potential unmarked graves are found at residential school site, a project to honor them begins, to honor the thing that is not there, that there was never any evidence was there. And by the way, there's not a single record of one child being reported as not returning home, of being missing. Former Kamloops Indian Residential School now has National Historic Site. All this stuff was based around these false claims. 41 more potential unmarked graves found. Found the sites of 5 children, but none of these have actually been found. Nothing has been found. Let's see. Child's remains discovered at site of former residential school. A ground search of a former Saskatchewan residential school site found more than 2,000 anomalies. This is ground penetrating radar. It's nothing. This is a false headline. They did not discover child's remains there. There's nothing there. Oh, what does it say? During a site search, a jawbone was discovered that's been confirmed as the remains of a child from over 100 years ago. So this is not evidence of mass graves or that. Whose was that, by the way? Whose was that, by the way? And I did hear about one where it ended up being actually an animal's jaw in any case. Let's see. Every Child Matters bikers writing in for kids who never made it home. There's no records of any kids who never made it home, like missing kids, right? Of course, there was tuberculosis. People did die at the schools. A lot more. There was a much higher child mortality across the board back then. Northern Manitoba First Nation reports 187 anomalies found at or near the site of former residential. None of this means anything. None of it means anything. Let's see. Criticism of Canada Day celebration grows in the wake of burial sites being found at old residential schools. Not true. No burial sites have been found. Just a fake story. That's fake headlines. Flags on federal buildings lowered in memory of Kamloops residential school victims. That's just made up. It's not real. It's not just... Flags on federal buildings lowered in memory of Kamloops residential school victims. Just made up. This is all just propaganda. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew it all along that ground penetrating radar does not prove anything. So everybody's complicit. The media's complicit. The government's complicit. Academia's complicit. And they're going to hide it. They're going to cover it up as best as they can, right? And here, this is why you get these redactions here. It's going to take a change of government to get to the truth. Let's see. All right. Hold on a sec. Let's see. David Creighton posted this. One of the few honest politicians extant in BC. Dallas Brody continues to expose the First Nations land fraud scheme that is called Aboriginal title. This is the thing that's going to sink Canada. Dallas Brody talking about the Musqueam decision by Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, to hand Aboriginal land title to like all of Vancouver and surrounding areas. Third biggest city in the country. This is lunacy. Let's hear.
Hi, everybody. Dallas Brody here. This Musqueam Indian Band agreement has turned into a complete parody. I'm going to lay out the timeline for you so you can understand just where we're at. We all remember the Cowichan decision, which hit everybody like a lightning bolt, where the Cowichan Band got title over 800 acres in the city of Richmond. After that judgment was rendered, we know that other Indian bands wanted to protest that decision, and the Cowichan itself appealed it. So we had several bands appealing that decision because other bands were claiming ownership to that area as well. And the Cowichan didn't get as much as they thought they should get. Well,
and by the way, all of these legal battles paid for by Canadians, right? So Canadians have to pay for this themselves.
Now we've got this situation with the Musqueam Indian Band agreement that has given right and title to the band over the entire Lower Mainland. And this has come as just a shock. And so first we have this court decision. Now we have this agreement. And guess what's happened now? 3 other bands are now angry about this agreement that Mark Carney cut with the Musqueam Indian Band, because those 3 other bands are also claiming Aboriginal right and title over this same area. Can you believe this? So we now have the Squamish Band claiming title over Vancouver. The Cowichan Band is now claiming title over this area too. The Tawasin Band and the Musqueam Indian Band. So 4 bands all claiming title over the Lower Mainland.
And by the way, again, Canadians will have to pay for all of the millions of dollars in legal fees so they can fight over which one of them gets to destroy the economy of British Columbia and ruin people's lives. So that's not sane.
You can't make this up. And we've got all the fee simple property owners, approximately 2 million of them, sitting there wondering what the heck is going on. They all thought that they individually owned the right and title to those lands themselves, which in fact they did. It's almost like when you have 4 bands all claiming right and title over the Lower Mainland, it means nobody owns it. So what is really going on here? Do they own it? Do the fee simple property owners own it? Are there going to be 4 different Aboriginal titles sharing your title with you? So now it's me and 4 bands all sharing my fee simple title. I don't know how this is going to work, but I know it can't work, because you can't have that many titles to one property. I know the Musqueam Indian Band is now trying to say they're not coming after private property. I call BS on that. If they weren't wanting it all, then why are they claiming it? It doesn't make sense. And so I'm saying this needs to be completely withdrawn, and it's over. So here we are. We're going to continue to bring you updates on this whole situation, and we need to really keep focused on this, because this is an astounding and horrible situation for all of us. And this, in my view, this land claim and all of these need to be retracted, and no more land claims like this. It's got to stop. How can a band with 1,400 people possibly need to have ownership over the entire Lower Mainland? Ask yourself that.
Money, and because we're stupid enough to let it happen, to just give it away. Just give it away. Mark Carney just gave it away. Just gave it away. He didn't have to do it. Just said, give it away. Why? For his virtue, because we can brag about it next time he's at Davos. I mean, this is insanity. Right? This is with 2 million people, right? 2 million people. This and 95% of the province is susceptible to this. That's $2 trillion worth of land. Okay, and if it keeps going this way, it's going to be all of it. I mean, and forget about the rest of it. Just Vancouver alone, this is a catastrophe, right? This is going to destroy British Columbia economically. This is enough to sink Canada, for God's sakes. I mean, our national debt's $1.5 trillion. It's almost as if our government is trying to destroy the country so it can sell it off for parts or something. I don't know, but this doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. This is going through a legal process that didn't exist before colonization. The process they're using is a colonial invention in the first place. There weren't land titles and courts to decide these things before colonization. I mean, that's the grand absurdity of this. Before Europeans came to Canada, your land was your land as long as you could hold it, right? If somebody else came along and they were stronger than you, well, it's theirs now. So the whole thing is utterly, totally absurd. And I mean, it is actually surreal how insane this is. I mean, you want to see just a capital flight? I mean, it's going to happen. An interesting, I've been watching real estate agent channels to see if they're talking about this, to see if it's affecting them. None of them are saying a damn thing about it. None of them. They're not talking about it at all. Not one word. That's how you know it's bad. That's how you know it's bad. All right. Yeah, total insanity. Well, I think that let's go back to chat for a second. Then we're on to the last tab of the evening. And let's see. Radio Streamer says more balls than elbows up Carney. Well, Carney is self-interested, right? He has his own goals. Those goals do not align with the goals of the Canadian people. I don't know how much more obvious he could be about it. Let's see. Ottawa James, how you doing? Jupiter. Radio Streamer says they spent too much time murdering each other. They don't even know what time period each tribe should get what land. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the idea that any of these tribes have been there forever is ridiculous. Because there's a story that somebody went fishing somewhere like 200 years ago. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is lunacy. They're going to destroy like this. This could sink Canada. Like Canada can't afford, the rest of Canada can't afford to bail out British Columbia on this. If it goes the way it's looking like it's going to go, the rest of Canada can't afford to bail British Columbia out on this. Like forget about Alberta independence or Quebec separation. So look at British Columbia right now. They could be the first to go. Because it's madness. It's lunacy. Let's see. Let's see. Bambot says it won't be worth $1 trillion anymore. Well, no. I mean, I think I've noticed that the polling is starting to even out with the Conservatives, who are useless in BC, by the way, as well. So one BC is really the way we need to go. But the polling is starting to even out with the NDP and the Conservatives, and that has to be that people are finding out about it. But it's being hidden from most of the public. I watched the CTV report on it on, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. Led off CTV Newsnight, the News Hour, and they talked about it. And they did not mention Aboriginal title in the whole segment. They just said it's vaguely something about fishing rights. I'm not kidding. I mean, that's intentional. That is intentional. That's an intention. That's a lie by omission. That is it's incredible. I mean, aren't the people who work for CTV worried about their homes? Like, it's surreal watching this happen. I watched the whole thing and I said, well, they've got to mention the whole land title thing. No, they didn't. The whole thing was propaganda to try and just put people's minds at ease. Nothing really happening here. Nothing going on. When people finally realize, when people wake up, when people say, oh, I want to sell my house, and they realize their property is worth 10% of what it was worth before, then all hell breaks loose. Let's see. Rambot says Brookfield would just raze it to the ground and build Soviet-style blocks. Well, if the Indians let them, right? They let them do it. And maybe he has a deal worked out with them, actually, for something like that. I don't know. He might. I don't know. There's nothing I would put past Carney at this point. I think he's utterly and totally corrupt. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the second channel, Radio Baloney News. This is where all of the U.S. news and world news and UK news and everything else and woke mind virus and meme reviews is all going to be. This channel is just for live streams and Canadian news. And I've actually even started moving the Canadian news over to Radio Baloney News, the new channel, the second channel. It's only been around about 6 months. Go there and subscribe. Eventually, everything will be over there. So go do it now. Do yourself a favor. All right. All right, let's go to the last tab here. What do we got? This one we got to save for tomorrow because tomorrow is the Monday night premium stream. So we're going to save that for tomorrow. Here's one. This must have come from Rosie. Could you use a timeline cleanse? This is so adorable. Well, let's take a look. We need a timeline cleanse, don't we? Let's take a peek. It's probably AI, though. Okay, this is AI. Definitely AI. Let's take a look. It's got to be AI. Well, people don't seem to care if it's AI or not. Let's take a look. Let's see what Croc says. Let's see. So in human interest, is it AI? I think it's AI. Is it AI? Well, we're going to let you guys, okay, you guys tell me what you think. Because we are going to do a, hold on. Let's see.
It's a total fabrication.
Or.
You're right. It's fact.
Is it fact or a total fabrication? So I'm going to put this on while I ask AI. You guys tell me what you think. Fact or total fabrication? Spambot says, I don't care. Spambot says, I sent the puppy and kids like it. Not like you, Spambot. Not like you. I assumed it was Rosie. Let's see. It's a cleanse. Izzy says, I'm going to go with fabrication. Okay, there's one for it's fake. It's a total fabrication. Spambot says, I do not care. Judo Survivor. There's always somebody who reflexively says, this is AI. Radio Baloney, this is AI. Yes, I don't trust anything anymore. Tell me what you think. Get one more. Okay, we'll go back. Because I know the answer now. Hold on. Be right back there. I have to find the thing again. There it is. Okay. Here we go. All right. Tell me what you think. Okay, that's enough. Let's see. Danny says you can't tell if it's real or AI. Trudeau says I didn't watch it, only listen, but I'll say not AI. So we've got, so what do we have? We have a fabrication, a fact, 1 and 1. Ottawa James says fabrication, 2 fabrications, 1 fact. Izzy says first part looks real. So that's 2 and 2. And Raider Streamer AI 3-2. Now my vote was AI as well. So it's 4-2. And now let's find out the answer.
You're right. It's fact.
It was fact the whole time. It's real. That was real. The part that got me was this part here where they're doing the howling. That's the part I thought, no, that's not real. But apparently it's real. So I don't know. I don't know. We saved this one for tomorrow. We got to save this one for tomorrow. This one we have to save for tomorrow. It's got music. I think we can watch this one. Imagine seeing this before entering Disney World. It's some Mexican guy having a smoke, giving you the finger. Nope, no music. We're gonna watch that tomorrow. This one I'll definitely get copyrighted. How about this? Guys carefully going to bed after a big fight, wondering if she is still mad. What do you guys think? I think she is.
Paying attention, I should have followed up when I never heard back. You feel bad because of what happened, and anybody would. But that envelope is not a magic sword. It's not going to roll his legs back. But what it could do, it could sway a jury. It could make the jury think differently about you, and that could. Paying attention, I should.
Still mad. Still mad. Let's see. We're going to do this one tomorrow because I want to spend some time on that one. What's going on here? The smirk before he crashed out. Take a look. I wonder if this one is AI. Let's take a look. No sound on this one. I think that's real. If it doesn't say anything underneath here, we'll just go with it's real. I think it's real. All right. Let's just go with it's real. Let's see. So let's see. NBC 10 Boston. A man accused of hacking someone to death with an axe and eating part of the victim's brain and an eyeball has been granted conditional release after a careful review of his clinical progress. Officials in Connecticut say, Elon Musk says probability of murder and cannibalism again is 100%. Exactly. Like, how do they determine this? So, how have you thought about, I don't know, eating anybody's eyeball or brain today? No, not much. Not much. Did you think about it yesterday? Think about what? Eating someone's brain and eyeball. No, I don't think so. Not much anyway. Okay, I guess you're ready. I mean, what the hell? What the hell? I'm going with Elon on this one. Risk of murder and cannibalism again, 100%. I mean, look at him. You can see he wants to eat the judge there. He wants to eat the judge's eyeball there. Jesus, people are crazy. We got to save that one for tomorrow, I think. Oh, no, we already did that one. This I can't do until tomorrow because it's got music. This we already saw. This one we can't do. This one we can't. I think we already saw. I think we've already done these. We already did all these ones. All right, that's it. We're done. I forgot to get rid of the old ones from this bookmark. So that's it. It's all over, folks. It's all over. All right, what are you guys talking about? Oh, we got to do a raid as well. But let me do this chat first. Let's see. Izzy says, parts of that I was doubting, also the puppy one. I know. Rosie said, real baby. Fake dogs, Rosie said. That's what I thought. I thought the whole howling together thing was just a little too good. It was a little too cute. But apparently it was real. Spambot says, I've seen the howling with kids in a larger compilation that was made before AI. Well, that's interesting. Well, he knew. Minnie Mouse. Let's see. Smoking Minnie Mouse. The one where the German Shepherd opens the door with the pup seems fake. Maybe part of it was fake. I don't know. For me, it was the howling thing. Let's see. Radio streamer, I don't care why he did it. A bare minimum, he should never see the light of day again. I think if you're going to be a cannibal, then they should drop you off to a cannibal tribe in the Amazon. That should be your punishment. And you're covered in barbecue sauce. So they get the message, right? Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says, it seems a little misogynistic to do a raid on International Women's Day. When have we ever been afraid of a little misogyny on this channel? All right, let's go. This will be the last raid for the month, and then we don't have to worry about it again. So this is for Rumble, a Rumble raid. Let's find one here. Let's see. What have we got? It can't be one that we've already done this month. So let's see. Do dissidents. What's this? Florida debate. Alex Jones. Live news. Real news. Saturday Night Cope. I don't know what that's all about. The Flyover Conservative Show. Let's just do that. This looks like it's not going to be offensive, just informative. Not Black Hitler, streamer says. That was the very first raid. Black Hitler. I don't know. He seemed like he'd be nice. All right, let's do this one. Is this live? It's live. Let's do it. Copy. Gonna go here, and then we do this, and then this, and then that, and then all right, let's confirm this raid. Okay, final checks underway. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. All right, everybody. All right, everybody. I hope to see everyone at tomorrow, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks for showing up, you guys. You guys keep showing up. I will keep showing up as well. Good night, everyone.